Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another episode of My Two Satoshis. It is October 25th, 2018. I have to give a shout out to my man, Make YouTube Great Again. Well, he sure is. I tell you, he brings some of the hottest song requests out here on this channel. He wanted Kanye West, Gold Digger. I love this joint. Hope you guys doing well today. And today we're talking about Veritaseum. They have hired a new co-CEO. That's a big move. That tells you a lot about what they're trying to get themselves into as far as expanding their vision and expanding their business. They've hired a Wallstreet cat that's well known. I've seen him or heard him on CNBC before, I believe. The last name Tabak really sounds familiar. I think I've heard him on CNBC before. But they've hired Jeffrey Tabak as the co-CEO of Veritaseum along with Reggie Middleton. So we're going to look at that article briefly. Doesn't get much coverage in this space at all as far as Veritaseum brings or highlights or updates they may have. The cryptocurrency industry just looks over Veritaseum. I'll let you guys come up with your own reasons why. The second thing is an article about futures. The Bitcoin futures has been 10 months now, and it's pretty much been lackluster. We're going to look at this article that kind of goes over that in detail. So we'll check it out first. Global cryptocurrency markets are currently at $209 billion, just about where it was the other day. 210, I think it was yesterday. Bitcoin's dominance is at 53.6%, and no real news here, people. It's like Groundhog's Day. It's just the same thing over and over again. So reminds me of 2014 into 15. But let's take a look at this chart. Not much again to show you guys. Very tight range right now. Even tighter range than this range of 59 to 6,600. This is crazy. So we're a very tight range. We're going to have to see something happen. If I extend this out, what do we have here? I don't know where I had that. Oh, that's that line. Yeah, so I extended this trend line out. So, hey, we got to make a decision. I'm sure I could draw something at the bottom here as well. Nothing as of yet. Again, I told you guys the other day, in the next 5, at this point now, 3 to 5 days, we should have some type of price move, explosion up or down. If there's no bad technical news, we may see a pop up. But again, I think that's going to be short-lived because by the end of this year, we will see another sell-off due to taxes, I think. So the first article out of Crypto Globe, it says 10 months after launch, Bitcoin futures failed to lift off. In December of 2018, I think they mean 17 because we haven't even reached 18 yet. December 2017, the CME and CBOE launched their long-awaited Bitcoin futures products. Although traders expected this to make the price of Bitcoin explode, Bitcoin is down 70% since, and the futures are not seeing much activity. It says here, since launching in December of 2018, Bitcoin futures have not excited the markets quite as expected. There are 2 exchanges trading Bitcoin futures, the CME and the CBOE, but trading activity is not what investors thought it would be. In total, both exchanges trade only 9,000 contracts a day in the third quarter of 2018, a fraction of what's done on traditional futures markets. So you guys should know that each contract has 5 Bitcoins. So that, you just do 5 times 9,000, give you how many Bitcoin essentially are traded in a day. It should be about 45,000. So although CME activity is steadily growing, it's not as earth-shattering as people believed in 2017. When these contracts launched, investors expected them to open with huge trading volume, but the market just wasn't ready for that to happen, says Michael Mths, VP of cryptocurrencies at Chicago-based Trading Technology International. The CME and CBOE futures could well have been what prompted the cryptocurrency bull run last year. Many believe that the CME and CBOE had to buy Bitcoin in order to fund their futures contracts, or that once the futures contracts launched, Wall Street would pump the price using futures The reality was far from those expectations, as Bitcoin topped out the very next week the futures launched. And this is a misconception, guys. CME and CBOE did not have to buy Bitcoin because they were all cash settled. There were no contracts allowed to be settled in Bitcoin, so they never even had to touch Bitcoin in the first place before launching this product. It says here the CBOE started trading their product on December 11th. That day, BTC spiked from 15,000 to 18,000. The CME launched their futures next on December 18th when Bitcoin was at 18,000, and Bitcoin's top was right in the middle on December 18th when it reached $19,870 as per Crypto Compare. A finance professor from the University of Houston said here that it has not been what you call a roaring success. Institutional players have stayed on the Bitcoin sidelines, and as long as they are, the futures contracts are likely not to generate substantial amounts of volume. Many are wondering why big players have stayed away from these futures contracts. Some think that there's too much risk involved and that the cryptocurrency market causes more noise than impact. CBOE's chief operating officer argued, "There's been more articles than volume." It's a little bit shocking to me, the attention this market gets versus its size. The entire crypto market is a fifth of Apple. In addition to the inherent risk of Bitcoin, the contracts are expensive. While CME's flagship S&P 500 futures require 4% margin, the Bitcoin futures require 40% initial margin. That's why. I'm going to tell you that's exactly why. This means that investors have to put up 10 times as much capital in order to enter a trade. Despite this issue, professionals are confident that the product will grow with time. They've got to drop those margin requirements for sure. Brad Copen, head of crypto trading at CMT Digital, compares the BTC futures to the VIX futures, which allows users to trade volatility of the market. These VIX futures took years to gain ground, but that is now a very successful product for the CBOE. And there are a lot of ETFs based off of it. And there's a whole asset class around it, Copen says. These Bitcoin futures will get the same place. People just forget how long it took for the VIX. Yeah, that's possible. It's definitely possible. Fun tidbit about the VIX. I remember CNBC having the inventor of the VIX, the volatility index, on CNBC. He's a professor, and this guy got nothing for that. He gave that away, and I think the CBOE ended up picking it up, and for no price, no fee. I'm sure he got paid in other ways though, for sure. I hope so, but he would be an even wealthier man if he would have actually licensed that to the exchange instead of just giving it to him. But anyway, the second article out of Coin Rivet, Veritaseum hires Wall Street vet as co-CEO. It says here Veritaseum has made a big step in bringing its product to the mainstream by hiring Wall Street veteran Jeffrey Tabak as its new co-CEO. The acquisition comes 1 week after CEO Reggie Middleton announced expansion into the African blockchain ecosystem, as reported exclusively here on Coin Rivet. Tabak made his name on Wall Street by co-founding Miller Tabak. That's where I know his name. That's exactly it. A leading institutional firm since the 1980s. After graduating from Brown University in 1974, he went on to complete his MBA from Harvard Business School. He was a part of President Reagan's task force on market mechanisms following the stock market crash of 1987. And so there's a video here that I'm just going to quickly play and let you guys enjoy.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Tabak. I'm co-CEO of Veritaseum Securities. I have a very traditional Wall Street background. I started a firm approximately 35 years ago called Miller Tabak. We were innovators at that time in the 1980s. We were the first firm to do program trading on Wall Street. We actually did it with index cards back then. It was way before computers. The margins were enormous in the business at that time, but of course as computers came in, the margins shrank dramatically and the big banks got in the business. At that point, Miller Tabak switched its emphasis to dealing with the family offices, hedge funds, and high net worth individuals who wanted to use derivative strategies for a variety of reasons. The use of those derivative strategies could be to hedge portfolios, to enhance returns of portfolios, to enhance returns of individual stocks, or for a variety of other reasons that derivatives come into the marketplace. It's quite interesting that listed puts did not start until 1974. Miller Tabak started about 10 years later. Puts at that time were considered un-American. Investing in puts was a bad thing to do. Obviously, the market's changed dramatically in the last 30 years, but the derivatives market has continued to grow and has been we are real leaders in that area. Unfortunately, the traditional model of brokerage firms on Wall Street is starting to change. It's changing for a number of reasons, most of which has to do with the low volatility environment we've been in. Now, you're going to ask, given what's on the last several days, how can I be talking about a low volatility environment? But if you look at the volatility statistics for the last several years and eliminate this last 2 weeks, the volatility has declined dramatically. The VIX, which is not the best measure of volatility, but traded in the 30 to 40 range in 2008, 2009, 2010. That volatility has declined 50%. Volatility in the last 2 or 3 years in the VIX has been under 20. That is not a good environment for a derivatives-oriented firm. Since I wanted to be an innovator, and have always been an innovator, I started looking at the blockchain crypto area. And I met Reggie Middleton, who I think has the best vision in the industry for what blockchain digital is going to become. I think Veritaseum will hopefully be the leading firm in this industry. And by leading firm, I mean the one with the most innovative products, with a coin that is very liquid and in which there are deep markets, and a management team second to none. We are going to offer portfolios and individual investments for institutions and high net worth individuals. We'll model those portfolios based on your needs and your rate of return and what your boards are looking for. And we'll also have individual investments as well. We'll back up all of those investments with what I hope to be the best research in the blockchain digital area. We will also be doing research in the macro area. If we feel there's an important event, either in fixed income, equity, or commodities, we intend to write on those subject matters as well. As far as the regulatory environment is concerned, I see Veritaseum as being a real leader there as well. We have been in contact regularly with FINRA and the SEC. We are educating them in terms of what the whole blockchain digital area is going to do, and trying to do it nicely, but we are clearly educating them. Internationally, quite frankly, I think the regulators are more advanced than we are domestically, and we hope to establish beachheads soon in Bermuda, Gibraltar, Switzerland, Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa. We also, lastly, intend to tokenize a part of the American market that is really just too paper-driven right now. And I think the areas most ripe for tokenization are trade finance, factoring, and litigation finance. I think we're going to see real strides in that area because those are where we can be true disruptors of the industry. And I think Veritaseum will make enormous strides in changing those industries. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it, people. I think that's a very strong and very strategic move by Reggie Middleton to do that, to hire Mr. Jeffrey Tabak, Miller and Tabak. When I saw that, I'm like, I knew that last name sounded familiar. But a good move, and it's going to help them. I think it's going to accelerate their progress here in the States with Wall Street. But I still feel like they're probably going to see much more success outside the States. It's just unfortunate to say, but I just think that's what's going to happen. And it's a very good move for the Veritaseum team. Let me know how you feel about that. Most of my subs are from the Webbot crew, so they're definitely aware of Veritaseum. So I know how they feel about it. But those who are not aware of Veritaseum, go check it out, or let me know your thoughts about it. If you have checked it out, I would love to know What do you think about that whole platform? Still way over my head, and I know they're gonna do well. Just don't know how that translates into price for the token. But yeah, this is gonna be a great project, I think, especially outside of the United States. So again, you guys let me know your thoughts about Veritaseum hiring Jeffrey Tabak, and also the futures. Dismal performance for the year. Can't call manipulation now, since we can see clearly ain't nobody buying Bitcoin futures like that. It's your boy Crypto Blood. That's my 2 Satoshis for today, October 25th, 2018. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and click that bell. I'm out. How?